Hi boys and girls, today for Skills Unit 6, we are doing Lesson 4, and this lesson is all about reading informational text. Your new little reader is informational text. It is nonfiction. It teaches us something, okay? In this lesson, I will be reading a read aloud called America in 1812 Part 1. It is actually something we read before in L&L, but we are going to brush up on some of the facts, okay? Get you ready for our new little reader. You will also be reading words that feature that sound spelled with EA. We also learned about that in our previous lesson. All right, let me go ahead and make this bigger for you so you can see the pictures. Our first picture is of colonists in the colonies, okay? From 1775 to 1783, America fought Great Britain for independence. This conflict was called the Revolutionary War. Against all odds, America won. What had been the 13 original colonies officially became the United States of America. After gaining independence, the American people did not want kings or queens governing them anymore. Americans wanted to create a new kind of government. They wanted to be able to elect individuals to represent the people and act with their best interests in mind. This is why we vote. This is why your parents vote, your grandparents vote, okay? To vote in people to run our country or our city. They wanted a government that was by the people, for the people. Okay, our next picture shows the Constitutional Convention. Notice all the people in that picture. To help create the new form of government, several elected leaders met in Philadelphia in May and June of 1787. Some leaders who could not attend, such as Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, wrote down their ideas. Together, the founding fathers, who were the founding fathers? They were the first 4 presidents of the United States, right? The founding fathers' ideas all came together in a document called the U.S. Constitution. And it looks like this. The Constitution became the framework, the guidelines, okay, for the American government. A man named James Madison had a clear vision of how the United States should govern itself. James Madison is known as the father of the Constitution because he put all these ideas together by writing the Constitution with the help of George Washington and others. He also became the 4th president of the United States. So what is the name of the document that became the framework for the American government? The Constitution, right? And who is the father of the Constitution? James Madison, the 4th president of the United States. All right, here we have a map of America in 1805. So this was from a long time ago. For many years after the Revolutionary War, the United States grew, and it got wealthier. Okay, new states such as Vermont, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and Louisiana were added. These new territories were also settled. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson purchased the Louisiana Territory from France. There it is. Okay, this purchase more than doubled the size of the United States. So what is the name of the area of land the United States purchased from France? The Louisiana Purchase. That's what it is called. Okay, let's see. Who are these guys here? We have somebody in Great Britain and somebody in France. Okay, across the Atlantic, France and Britain went to war against each other. The series of war became known as the Napoleonic Wars, named after the French leader at the time, who was Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte wanted to make France the most powerful nation in the world. Britain was determined to stop him. The United States considered both France and Great Britain to be friends. It did not want to get involved in these costly and destructive wars. Even though the Napoleonic Wars were being fought all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, they greatly affected us, the United States. Okay? So this next picture shows a very busy American port, right? We have all the ships, we have some people there doing things. Much of the United States growth during this time depended upon trade with France and Great Britain. Britain and France had many merchant or trading ships. These ships sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to trade goods with the United States, Canada, and with many of the British and French-owned islands in the Caribbean. So, for example, the United States sent flour and tobacco to France and Great Britain. Great Britain and France received sugar and coffee or cocoa from other countries. So everybody was getting things from somebody, right? Both countries wanted to stop the other from trading with the United States. They each also tried to prevent or to stop the other from getting money and supplies. They also did not want the United States to choose sides. So this is a map of shipping trade routes. Okay, you see the little dotted lines there? Those were the routes. To keep the French from trading with the United States, the British blockaded or blocked several ports. They also blocked several important ports in Europe. This really hurt the U.S. trade. France and Britain both had large naval fleets positioned in the Atlantic Ocean to attack each other's ships. To make matters even worse, the British and the French began to seize or capture American ships loaded with valuable cargo. It became almost impossible to safely transport goods from the United States to foreign ports, to different ports, okay? It was also more and more difficult for Americans to receive needed goods. They could not get them in because of these blocked ports. All right, here's an impressment of sailors by the British Army. We've heard that term, impressment, before. Merchant ships weren't the only ships in the sea. The United States and Great Britain also had naval ships. Life in the British Navy was not easy. Conditions on their naval ships were terrible, and punishments were harsh. Because of this, the British Navy had a hard time finding men who wanted to be sailors. To get more sailors, the British began to capture men. That's what impressment is. Capture men from other countries' ships and force them to join the British Navy. Sometimes these sailors were British deserters. Okay, however, more times than not, the sailors who were seized weren't even British. But that did not stop the British from doing it. They even seized many U.S. sailors. This practice of forcing men into the British Navy was called impressment. Okay, let's look at our next picture. This is a picture of a naval ship, USS President. Okay, the impressment of U.S. citizens upset the American people. I mean, why wouldn't it? They're taking their people. And it also upset the U.S. government. As time went on, the United States found that it was losing more and more valuable cargo, sailors, money, and even ships. They demanded that the British stop impressing American sailors. But the British refused. All right. So what did the British do that angered the United States so badly? What did the British do? What do you think? Okay, the British were, one, they were stopping U.S. ships. They were stealing their cargo. They were capturing or impressing U.S. sailors. And they blockaded all U.S. ports. That's what made the United States so upset. Okay? All right, now that we covered that, we are switching gears and we are going into the sound spelled with E-A. I have some words here that are examples of that sound spelled with E-A. For example, we have breakfast, bread, dead, lead, health, dread, meant, wealth, spread, and sweat. Okay? All those words have E-A in it, and that E-A makes what sound? Yes, it makes the sound. Very good. All right, boys and girls. That is it for today, I believe. Let me double check here. Yes, that is it. You have no activity page today. Okay, you just have to study your spelling words. Your spelling words, the test will be in your next lesson, lesson 5. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed our little read aloud and you're all excited for our new little reader. All right, have a great day. Study those spelling words.